Hello, I'm Natalia, and I am happy to share my memories from high school period. I remember of that familiar buildings which we were study for 6 hours in every day. Especially I remember the professors who we didn't like so much. Maybe because of their age or maybe because of their sage faces who explain the way and occasionally asking questions to check his students' attention. But between them, there were also good professors who maybe I won't forget ever their nice behavior with students and the friendly speaking during classes. I didn't say that other professors were good, other bad. Just I didn't like them. And I would like to share with you who are these professors, what did they teach us, and why do I remember them. Now, remember that I am a Moldovan student, a student from Moldova, which means that in this country, conditions, study system, methods of study and others are fixed a little bit in other way. I just wanted to mention that as for students, also for professors, there is a hard to maintain a standard with other country around the world. But even that should not change the professor's attitude for students. Therefore, I remember my teacher of Romanian language. Also, I remember teacher of history subject and chemistry teacher. I put them in a good category of teachers because they always had a good impact on me. Even their salary was not a big amount. They tried for us to feel comfortable and do not feel boring. Because we could get an extrinsic motivation of enter in a good university with a good score in study, and all is not because we students tried the best, but also the influence and of teachers and teachers' motivation. Not only this, they build in us an intrinsic motivation by encouraging us to own more love of learning and creating new things. For example, our Romanian teacher always used to spend time encouraging and motivating us to study hard for our future. She told us many her stories from her life. She studied in boarding school. There were not good conditions, not a good place in mood to study, and even the food was not like for others. But she set a goal to study hard and to change the world. So, after that, wouldn't you own a motivation and to initiate a plan for study harder? Yes, because she didn't only explain about life and challenges, but she also explained how to deal with them. And I really appreciated this model and style of teacher. I think maybe because she was a language teacher. She was more tactile to perceive the mind. She was for us like a coach who trained for life and future. Also, our history teacher, she was a really experienced teacher. She always helped us to understand the tasks of our language and master knowledge of the subject. Moreover, she encouraged and motivated us in study course, building discipline. The most important that she explained us why we were doing and why in order to help us deal with any discrepancies. She never skipped to make her assumption explicit and to exemplify everything during our class. But there were teachers who didn't want to have an impact on us. However, they had an impact but not as good as it needs to be. I remember my math teacher. She was quite a sage that most learning takes place in the classroom and the importance of work done by students on their own. For other students, perhaps it was normal to study and analyze more than professor. But for me, it was not. And not only this, but she many times offended us, telling bad words about how we dress, how we make up, and so on. For me, that time was really an unpleasant period of study, about 3 years. It was an extrinsic motivation. Do not like the teacher. But I didn't care too much about that. I knew that I should study for life, for future, and for my pleasure, of course. How can she motivate students if she has such a bad behavior toward students? Many times I think if the teacher can't influence us in a good way, in this case, the teacher doesn't worth to be a teacher. It is one of the most important points of a teacher goal. If student will feel uncomfortable with teacher, he can't have a good results at study. Even he is a good student from class. he can't develop his he can't develop his knowledge and skills. Those kind of teachers doesn't know the needs and desire of students. Sometimes when a professor maybe get a little bit nervous, I suddenly remember about math teacher. She always has an angry and unsatisfied face. Nobody can get a good influence of these kind of teachers because they don't care about your study results, personality, and life. I don't want to critic, but it remained in my brain like an accident which brings sometimes nightmare. I just kidding. I'm just kidding, but Anyway, I can't stop complaining about that because it had a bad influence on me. So I can tell everyone that other teacher to know, do not make the same mistake. They should be like a second parent, not like a heedless person. So if I will become a teacher, I would like to have a good influence on students, to build in students the motivation and to make them feel comfortable during my class. If the students will feel comfortable, I will be very happy and the peace will surrender my heart.